Hello, everyone. My name is Corine Ngufor. I am an assistant professor at London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And today I will be presenting on the impact of good laboratory practice certification on vector control product evaluation at a collaborative GLP compliance facility, which I lead in Benin. Malaria vector control depends on two core interventions, which are long-lasting insecticide and nets and indoor residual spraying. And these two interventions have, unfortunately, for several years, depended on a rather very limited number of insecticides. Therefore, malaria vectors have developed resistance to these insecticides, and insecticide resistance has become widespread in Africa, and it is increasing in intensity the more they are used. And in 2012, the WHO released the Global Plan for Insecticide Resistance Management, which was a call to action to mitigate the impact of insecticide resistance in malaria vectors. And one of the major pillars of this call to action was to identify new chemical products for IRS and ITNs, which have new modes of action. And the vector control pre-qualification team of the WHO was also recently established, and this team is charged with maintaining a list of products that have met up with WHO standards, and these lists can be consulted by different procurers and different actors in the vector control landscape who are looking to procure new types of vector control products. When a manufacturer comes up with a new product, that manufacturer has to submit a product dossier to the WHO PQ team for assessment. And this dossier should include data and information to support the safety, the efficacy, and quality requirements appropriate to the product type. And this should be generated according to good laboratory practice and appropriate quality management system. Our facility has existed since 2005, and we generate product efficacy data for vector control products in a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and community trials. In 2017, we set out to establish an OECD GLP system. And by the end of 2018, we were inspected by an accreditation body, that is the South African National Accreditation System. And in January 2019, we were certified GLP compliant. At our facility, we are able to perform GLP laboratory testing of insecticides in phase 1 studies, like cone bioassays with different types of IRS insecticides on different block substrates, wash resistance testing of ITNs in cone bioassays and tunnel tests, and even bottle bioassays and different types of laboratory experiments using insecticides. We are also able to perform GLP studies for experimental evaluations of insecticides as phase 2 studies. We have a station with 55 experimental herds where the vector population is highly resistant to pyrethroids, making it very suitable for testing these sort of new vector control products. And in experimental herds, we can test different types of indoor vector control tools, such as IRS, ITNs, and spatial repellents to GLP. So what did we do to achieve GLP certification? First, in 2017, we did a lot of infrastructural improvements. We improved the quality of our infrastructure to ensure separation of processes and ensure environmental control for our different operations. And we also established a system for managing our equipment. We maintain an inventory of all equipment, and we have a calendar for the calibration and maintenance of these equipment and to retire them when they are no longer in function. We also established a personnel structure, which was designed to clarify roles for each position that we had and to put in place minimum requirements for the sort of persons that should occupy these roles. And we established a training system where our staff are trained and assessed for their competence in the different functions that they fulfill. And these trainings are done every 1 to 2 years. We developed a series of standard operating procedures, over 250 of them, to actually define how different tasks and procedures are performed within our facility. This was actually the most challenging aspect of the GLP system, and these SOPs are being reviewed every 2 years. We established a management of a test system that we set up a new insectary strains and prevent any form of contamination. We developed manuals and SOPs for managing our insectary, and our insect strains are characterized and assessed for fitness every 3 to 4 months. Actually, we maintain about 9 different strains within our facility. We also set up a system for managing the test items, which are the products that we test. We have procedures in place for receiving them, for registration, for storage and usage, with the aim of avoiding contamination between products and ensuring staff safety. We had a system in place for managing data and for archiving. We double enter data, we validate computers, and we also have a long-term storage system for physical and electronic data. And more importantly, we set up a quality assurance unit, and this required external training. And this unit is put in place to ensure continuous compliance of our facility to GLP through inspections and follow-up. And one major task that we have assigned to this unit is to assess the performance of our facility through quality indicators. So for our quality indicators, which we assess every year, we are looking at aspects such as the number of mosquito cages that we produce in a year, the levels of control mortality that we get when we perform experiments, the numbers of errors that we get when we do hand entry of data, and several other aspects that could be used to assess the overall performance of the facility. So how did quality indicators change since we achieved GLP accreditation? Here I present the number of projects and the number of vector control product brands that we have tested. We have seen that increase substantially over the years. And more importantly, we have seen that new products are coming in. We have tested in the last 2 years since we achieved GLP accreditation, 15 new brands of vector control products. We have also seen an increase in the production of insects in our insectary, both for our susceptible Kisomel strain and our resistant strain, and this has tripled since we established the system. And this could be due to the fact that these new products are coming mostly to be tested against resistant mosquitoes. So one important parameter that we use to assess our quality is the level of control mortality that we have in our bioassays. And we have set a limit of 10% across all our testing. And we chose this because it's really a key quality factor, as it is determined by the skill of the technician, the environmental factors, and the test system. I present here data that we have over the past 4 years for our control mortality in cone bioassays. In 2017, this was almost 10%, but since then we haven't exceeded 4% in control mortality. We also assess the percentage deviation in iris volume application volume in experimental herds when we treat herds for trials. And we have defined a range of 30% within which we want this volume to stay close to the target. So in 2017, we had about 1 herd where we had exceeded the target range, but since then we have maintained our application volumes within this target range, and we plan to put in place more stricter measures to be as close to the target as possible. And one important factor has been the impact of GLP on our employees, that's the staff of the facility. In 2017, we had just about 30 staff, but since acquiring GLP in 2020, our staff number doubled to 60. And this staff number didn't only double, but it also in early 2021, we assessed employee satisfaction through a survey, and we found that there was over 80% satisfaction among our staff. So staff made statements like they feel very proud about working in a GLP laboratory with high standards. They are more confident that their work is actively contributing to fighting malaria. They have learned so many new skills since we acquired GLP, and their professionalism has improved substantially. So in conclusion, we see that the quality and quantity of vector control product testing at our facility has improved substantially since GLP certification. And we have also seen that it has resulted in an increased employee participation and satisfaction, increasing employment opportunities, suitable employment opportunities for young entomologists within our area. I want to thank the following, especially Alex Wright and Graham Small, who guided us throughout this process of accreditation. And our accreditation was supported by a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation through the IVCC. I also want to thank, more importantly, the staff of the facility who worked tirelessly to put in place the system and continue to work to maintain it and to contribute towards the development of new vector control products. Thank you very much for your kind attention.